Hello, I'm Kristen from Kristen Kane Style. Welcome. I am a style and mindset coach, and I help women go from stuck and frustrated and overwhelmed with their wardrobe to a place where they love getting dressed. I do that by helping them get really clear on what they want to look like and how they want to show up in the world, so that then we can begin building a wardrobe that supports that version of them. If you'd like more information, Style Therapy is my one-on-one style coaching program, and I will drop a link down below so that you can take a look at all the details. If you have any questions, just reach out. So today I want to talk about thrifting. I have only recently begun to understand the magnitude of what is available at the resale level and how incredible it can be when building a wardrobe. And so I'm asked a lot about, how I find these amazing pieces and what tips I have for people who have not really ever thrifted, and, why I got started thrifting and those sorts of things. And so today I'm going to dive into that a little bit. I'm going to share kind of, just free form. I wrote a couple of notes when I was thinking about this topic after I'd been asked a few times and thought, okay, this is something I want to dive into deeper. But I don't really have a format or these are the 10 tips to make thrifting easier. That isn't what this is about. It's going to be me just sort of sharing my thoughts. And I hope that that is helpful for you if you're ready to give thrifting a try. And so first I will say that thrifting was pretty foreign to me until, within the last 2 years, really. I grew up working retail. My background is 100%, apparel, well, not 100%, but close. Apparel retail. So most of my adult life was spent in full-priced retail stores. And so thrifting just didn't really have a place there because, first of all, I always got a discount. So as someone who loves a bargain and who has spent a lot of her life looking through a lack lens, which I've talked about on here before, where abundance was not my default, and I was always trying to save money and be really frugal and find things on sale. So as someone who approached things that way, working in retail and being able to get a discount or get things on sale firsthand, when they first were marked down, was really the way I built my wardrobe. And I didn't explore the thrifting option because, first of all, I don't know that thrifting was quite as, prominent and prevalent as it is now. And I just didn't really give that a second thought. Now, I thrifted things like pieces to add to a Halloween costume, whether for myself or for my kids. I thrifted for furniture items. I have a couple of great pieces in my house right now that I thrifted, 20 years ago and still really enjoy. And occasionally I would find a great sweater or a great blazer or a dress or a belt or a bag and consider that a win. I wasn't using thrifting to build a wardrobe. And so now I am, and I want to share that because it has been magic for me. And my kids were ahead of the curve. My daughter and my sons have been thrifting for a while. They've been buying on resale sites online, and then they also, hit the local thrift shops, Salvation Army, Goodwill, that sort of thing. And so they kind of led the way, and I would be the driver when they couldn't drive, and I would take them and, poke around and actually find some pieces I liked. So it's been a learning curve for me because I come from apparel retail. And so to me, buying the newest and, the most current pieces, while I've never really been trendy or a trend follower, I did always like to have the newest thing from wherever I was working. And I've worked at the Limited and at Bloomingdale's and at Ann Taylor and at Neiman Marcus and at Anthropologie. And so I have seen some really amazing retail and some really amazing merchandise come through, the doors. And so it's just interesting for me now to have really shifted the way I shop. I very rarely buy full price or buy retail instead of resale. I recently purchased Faherty. First time I've ever purchased from the brand Faherty. Recently purchased a really beautiful blouse from them. It's called the Willa blouse. I ordered it in 2 sizes and they were actually both too small. So I'm exchanging it for the next size up, and I'm not positive whether or not I will keep it because I really have found pieces that are kind of equally great thrifting. We'll see when the new one comes. I will keep you posted. I'll probably post that over on Instagram when it arrives if it's good. And the last thing I really purchased prior to that full price retail as far as a top, because that's usually where I thrift the most, is in the tops, because they're easy to try on in the store with just a little tank top on. They're the most fun for me to add to my wardrobe. I tend to work a little harder to find pants that fit just because they're a harder fit for me. The last thing I purchased was my Cezanne striped sweater back in the end of last summer. And so I am rarely shopping retail right now. I am much more shopping at thrift shops and consignment shops and really loving it. So that's kind of where I'm coming from today. I keep looking at this rack because this rack is entirely thrifted. Every piece on this rack, including the sweaters folded and the sweater I have on and the Levi's I have on, are recently thrifted in the last 2 months, I would say. This is my most recent, thrift haul. And so I really can't say enough about what is out there if you are willing, and able to do the work of finding it. So why is thrifting such a great way to build a wardrobe? I'm going to share that. First, I want to say that there are a few things that it helps to be really clear on before you go thrifting. And this is actually true even if you're shopping retail. I believe that these things are sort of the fundamentals that you need to have a handle on before you go out to shop, because it just makes the whole process easier and prevents you from going rogue and buying pieces you don't need or don't actually love or won't wear. And so the first is to, you've heard me say it, define your style. If you know your style, if you're really clear on how you want to dress and the vibe you want to present and who you are when it comes to your clothing, it's much easier to shop, and it's much easier to shop at a thrifting level. So in addition to that, the second thing I would say, in addition to knowing your style, is to know your colors, know your shapes, know your fabrics. So when I thrift, I don't look at wool because I don't wear wool. I wear cashmere and I wear cotton and I wear acrylic. And so if a sweater is wool and it's amazing, that's terrific, but it's not for me. So if you know your colors and your fabrics and your patterns and shapes and the things that fit you and the vibe that you want to convey, the style that you want to convey to the world, then when you thrift, you eliminate, sometimes people tell me that thrifting is so overwhelming, that the stores are so disorganized and nothing is arranged by size and they can't find anything. And I agree completely, compared to a retail experience where you have all the different sizes, they're all lined up together. If they're not there, they might be in the back room if they have back stock, and it's a much cleaner, easier shopping experience. And that's not to say it's better. It's easier, and it might take less time. And there might be certainly there's a deeper selection. If you find a top you like, you're probably guaranteed to have it available in more than one size. So thrifting is a little bit more of a treasure hunt. And so I recognize that's not for everyone. And if you know your colors and your size and your vibe and your style and all of that, when you thrift, the overwhelm is much reduced because you are only looking for, like me, if you've heard me say before, I always look at cream sweaters. I always look at navy blazers. I always look at white shirts and stripes. So it eliminates all of the excess and the noise of the thrifting experience because I can hone in on exactly what I'm looking for and make the shopping experience much easier and usually much more successful. The other thing it's helpful to know is what's missing from your wardrobe or what's on your wish list. Because I don't believe we should just shop for sport. I don't think that shopping should just be something that we do and keep bringing pieces in when we don't really know if we need them or if we'll wear them. And so it's helpful if you know what's missing from your wardrobe. Are you missing a few great white tank tops or any solid color tank tops? Are you missing a great floral blouse? Are you missing a navy blazer or a couple of sweaters? If you know where the holes are, where the gaps are in your wardrobe, then thrifting becomes a project. Like you have a purpose, you know exactly what you're going in looking for, and it helps to make you more successful at the end. In addition, if you have a wish list, I really wish I had a great dress to wear for summer, then you're going in knowing what you're looking for, and it eliminates that overwhelm of walking into a resale store or a thrift shop where it can be kind of a mess and it can be sort of topsy-turvy. If you're just looking for pretty floral dresses, it eliminates a lot of the clutter. The next thing is to be clear on your size. And I don't mean your numerical size. I mean, be clear on how your body fits into clothing. So if you're really busty and you know that shirts tend to gap at the bust, be aware of that. And part of that, I'll back up a second, is because you can't always try on. You don't always have the luxury of a fitting room and lots of time to try things on in a thrift shop. When I thrift, I always wear a little tank top or a little camisole so that I can try on tops. And so it's helpful if you know how clothes fit you. I know that I'm long-waisted. So if I hold up a top, I'm pretty good now at eyeballing and knowing whether the top is going to be too short on me. So it, again, just makes the process that could be overwhelming with all of the merchandise, it makes the process easier. If you know how things fit your body, if you know that you're broad-shouldered, if you pick up a piece, you can kind of eyeball, okay, will my shoulders fit in that? If you can't try it on. And sweaters are always more forgiving than, blouses. And if you can try a blazer or a jacket on over whatever you're wearing, that's usually easy if you don't choose to wear a tank top and, kind of get changed in the middle of the store like I do. But it helps to know your size in the sense that you know how clothing fits you. You know, what the length of your torso is. You understand how things fit on your bust. You have a general sense of, are your arms long? Are your arms, not so long? So that you kind of can eyeball a piece before you even take the time to try it on. So that's sort of my feeling on what needs to be clarified before you thrift if you want to have a great thrifting experience. And then the next couple things I'll mention are why I think thrifting is so amazing. The number one reason I think thrifting is so amazing is because it is your choice. And this, again, took me a little bit of time to really understand why I was having so much fun with it. And it's because you've removed the retail element where, the folks at the retail store and the manufacturers and the designers are making the choice for you of what's available in that season. They are deciding the color palette. They're deciding the shapes and the silhouettes and the lengths and the waistbands and the necklines and the sleeve shape. They're picking that. They're dictating what you have to choose from. Where when you thrift, you have decades worth of merchandise in some cases available to you, all different shapes and silhouettes and fabrics and hemlines, and it just makes it so that you are choosing how you want to look. You are not in any way falling prey to the trends and to what the retailers have decided they are going to make available. You are allowed to pick anything. It can be a sweater from 1970. It can be a blouse from 6 months ago. It can be a t-shirt from 2 summers ago that you wanted but sold out before you got a chance to get it. It just allows you to really define and get clear on exactly who you are and how you want to show up and what your innate style is, because the retailers have a lot of influence. And I think I realize this more now that it's been a little over 6 months since I finished working in Anthropologie. And I'm not bombarded with what their idea of what spring should look like, their idea of what summer should look like. I'm allowed to choose that. I'm allowed to decide. I don't care what's in. I don't care if it's all bright colors this season. I love white and navy, and so that's and cream, and so that's what I'm going to wear. And I might throw in, a floral blouse that's a little out of the ordinary for me, and that's okay, but I'm not being forced to choose from just what the store has to offer. I have just a different level of abundance when it comes to what I can pick, and it allows me to be much more authentic. At least for me personally, it has allowed me to really decide, what do I like? What do I want to wear? Not what can I pick from this collection that Target or Old Navy or any of the other retailers have decided is in this season. Next thing I want to talk about is price, because that's really one of the things that pulled me in. What's available at the secondhand level is such a different value when you look at the dollar paid for the quality that you're getting. And that's not in every case. Certainly there's some junk out there. There are pieces that are not in great shape. I fully understand that. And there are also treasures. So one of my most recent treasures isn't shown here because I've already washed it and put it away for the winter because I recently bought it but won't be able to wear it again until the fall. And it is a gray cashmere cardigan sweater with cute little patch pockets. I think it's called the square V-neck cardigan. It's Everlane. It is on Everlane's website, or maybe just now is sold out, but it was on Everlane's website for $150. It is worth $150. It's a beautifully made, beautiful quality cashmere sweater, great medium, gray flannel color. And I paid under $10 for it at Salvation Army. And so when you find those pieces, not that it's all about the deal, because certainly there are people who can pay any price that a retailer is asking, and that's fine. If that's your budget, if your budget is unlimited, I'm not trying to limit your budget. I'm not trying to get you to spend less money. I'm trying to get you to understand that there are new with tags pieces at the resale level that are a much better price. And at least for me, I love that bargain. I love knowing that I'm getting a better deal than what the retailer, and that probably comes from all my years in retail and understanding the markup and my discount and that sort of thing. I like knowing that I'm getting a good deal. And so, I've had many other pieces like that Everlane sweater that were over $100 that I paid under $10 for, and I love wearing those pieces. And the next thing is the pretty obvious one with regards to thrifting, and that is sustainability. And so I really believe that we all could do a little bit better in taking care of the planet by not shopping for clothing as much. And so I think the statistic I read recently was, and this is a UK statistic, and the US is probably even worse than this. In the UK, it is estimated that they throw away 13 million pieces of clothing per week. Every single week, 13 million pieces of clothing are thrown away in the United Kingdom. Like I said, the US has to be above that. I believe we're still the worst offender of disposable clothing and tossing things. And the clothing that ends up in those landfills in other countries, just in the deserts in Chile and in Ghana, they are just mountains of rotten clothing that no one will ever be able to use. And I feel like the least we can do is possibly buy a piece or two resale to try to slow down the manufacturers who believe that we just need to keep consuming. So sustainability certainly is better for the planet if we can continue to reuse the amazing pieces that are already out there. And the last thing is, it allows you to experiment. If you're thrifting, I feel like it's a little easier to decide, you know what, I've never worn something with a peplum. I'm gonna try a peplum on this, Wednesday with this top that is $7. It allows you to bring in a color or a fabric or a texture or a shape that isn't your norm. So for instance, this kind of greigey, for lack of a better word, it's kind of gray, beige, green, linen and cotton blouse from Uniqlo. I wouldn't normally pick this color, and yet I really like it. And this top actually had a much longer hemline. It was curved and longer shirt tail in the front and in the back. And I just recently chopped it off and folded it under and ironed it and stitched it. So I like it much better now because it was a little too long for me. And I don't usually buy things that need to be tailored or mended when I thrift because I don't really have time for that or the energy for that or want the added expense if I'm gonna take it to someone. But this was a pretty easy one. But so this top, I don't know that I would have purchased it full price at Uniqlo. I like it, but I'm not sure I would have gravitated toward it because it's not my normal color. And yet it goes with everything I own. I really think the color's kind of cool. The shape is really pretty. So I think that thrifting allows you a little bit of experimentation. You can try something that might not be, this is another one. So this is just a pretty little date shirt that I purchased. It's Banana Republic. It's really beautiful, but full price at Banana Republic, I probably wouldn't have looked at it because I don't really need it. And yet it was under $10. It might've been under $6. And so I washed it and ironed it, and I'm excited to wear it because it's a nice addition to my wardrobe. It's navy blue. So I really think that thrifting allows you the opportunity to try something new that you wouldn't necessarily try if you were investing full price. And you wouldn't necessarily see if you were shopping at retailers where they've decided what the season is allowed to contain with regards to clothing. And so, it might be a little tweed jacket where right now slouchy boyfriend jackets are in, but you really love this little fitted tweed jacket. You wouldn't have the opportunity to purchase that at a retail store maybe in that same season. So by thrifting, you get to experiment. You get to try something that you might not otherwise try because you might not otherwise see it, or you might not otherwise try it because it might be a price point that you're not really willing to invest in, not being sure if it's something you really will love. So I just think that I have been blown away. And if you've watched any of my other thrifting haul videos, you'll see that I have found amazing merchandise. And the last thing I'll mention on this, I've been blown away. I'll finish that sentence. I have been blown away by what's out there. I think that people are decluttering. I think certainly the pandemic has, with all the time we had in our homes during quarantine, I think that people were decluttering and they were getting rid of beautiful pieces that they just aren't ever going to wear again. And I think we've all had pieces in our wardrobe that are amazing. They're just not amazing for us. And so when we pass those on and we pay those forward and someone else can take that home and enjoy it, it's the best feeling ever to be able to be part of that reciprocity, if you will. The other thing is I believe this about everything, but I truly believe this about thrifting, that the more you do it, the more your energy is aligned with the pieces. And that might sound silly to some who don't, abide by that kind of like attracts like and law of attraction and manifestation and that kind of thing. And yet one of my very first memories of thrifting as an adult with kids, Henry was looking for a Halloween costume. All he wanted, I think I've maybe mentioned it on here before, all he wanted was a Spider-Man, Superman Superman muscle suit. And I was just not willing to spend the $40 on the Superman muscle suit in size 3-year-old. And so I said, we'll go to Goodwill and we will see what we can find, and we'll put together a Halloween costume. And I, at that point, made my kids' Halloween costumes, so I also wasn't crazy about the idea of buying the really flimsy polyester ones. We walked into Goodwill and he beelined to the Halloween rack, and the first thing he saw was a Superman padded muscle suit in his size for about $3.50. And I thought, we completely came into this store today with the energy to find that piece, and he lit up and I lit up, and I thought, this is how it works. And so I kind of lost track of that over the years because, like I said, I wasn't really thrifting for clothing. Now I believe that if you go in, like I go in looking for cream sweaters, and just recently, these 4 cream sweaters have come home with me, and they're all different and they're all amazing, and they were all combined less than I would have paid full price retail at any store that I normally shop in. And so I think that it creates this energy of, if you believe you're going to find something great, you usually find something great. And it's almost like the thrifting energy kind of rolls out the red carpet for you and puts out the things that are going to be exactly what you need. I see it with my kids too. If they're looking for a great pair of Levi's or a pair of other pants or sweaters or jackets, they seem to just appear at just the right time in their size. So I'd love to know how thrifting is working for you. I know some people run into trouble because they don't feel like they have great thrift shops in their area, and I understand that. If there's a way to travel to a different town, that might help. And it also might help just to make it, a weekly or a bi-monthly thing where you just stop in and poke around and start that energy flow so that you can hopefully kind of bring in the pieces that you're looking for and find them on one of your trips there. I will be here next Friday with a new video, and I am always on Instagram every Tuesday doing a style Q&A. So if you would like to hop over for that, it is at noon Mountain Time on Tuesdays, and I put a question box up on Monday on my Instagram at Kristen Kane Style, and you can drop in your question and I will answer it on Tuesday. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next Friday. Thanks for watching.